And welcome to the Glens Falls Board of Public Safety. It's 4 p.m. Wednesday, November 12th, 2024. We'll call this meeting to order. First up on our agenda is a public comment period. If anybody would like to address the Board of Public Safety, we ask you to come up to this general area so you can be on camera. Tell us your name and address. How are you?
Hello.
Hello.
Is this good?
Yeah, please.
Okay. My name is Jason Henderson. I live at 24 Fort Amherst Road in Queensbury. I'm here because my children go to school at Jackson Heights, which is in Glens Falls, because we're in the Glens Falls School District.
Great school. Go Jackson Heights. Love that.
We like it very much. And part of why I'm here is because Glens Falls is a walking district, and we very much like to walk to school. And my wife, who wished she could be here, but she's dealing with some family illness at the moment.
Is your wife Christina?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Got her email. We'll read that into the minutes in just a few moments.
Okay, thank
Okay, yeah.
She was hopefully trying to organize a crosswalk at Webster across Bay, so to make it easier for families at that area to cross the road to Jackson Heights. Maybe or possibly there wasn't one there before because we were in the former Sanford Street School District, so we would go a different way to school, but because Sanford Street closed now, half of our road goes to Jackson Heights, half of the road goes to Kensington. And the Kensington side has a crosswalk to cross Glen by Crandall Park at Webster, and so we would just sort of like the same courtesy for the Jackson Heights side, so we can walk to school and also access the bike path and in that corridor. So, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We do have that topic in our old business, so if you stick around, you might be able to get some good news. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Gary McCullough. I live at 37 Cunningham, but I own the property at 221 Bay Street, which is right at the corner of Douglas Avenue and Bay Street. Right where Jason was just talking about the crosswalk.
Great.
Anyway, so I've only owned that property for several months now. I've been there working quite a bit. There is a lot of pedestrian traffic up and down Bay Street on both sides of the road, and I only see them on either side. I never see them crossing, probably because there's not a crosswalk there. Anyway, I do live on the opposite side of the road, and I do plan on walking back and forth to my house in the garage or riding my bike, and I think a crosswalk would be very helpful.
And again, are you talking about from say the cemetery area to
so
Bay?
yeah, so Webster and Douglas Avenue are a little bit offset, but the south side of Webster to the north side of Douglas is almost in line. So it would be a very easy place to put a crosswalk. It doesn't have to be, we're not looking for a traffic light or anything, but a crosswalk with a sign I think would be very helpful, and I think would be good for the neighborhood. There's lots of kids that live on Douglas Avenue that are constantly walking, riding their bikes, going down the street, so I think it would be very advantageous. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Not seeing anyone else here from the public. Peter, do we have anybody online that would like to weigh in?
No.
Great. 3 is a resolution to approve the minutes of the October 9th, 2024 meeting of the Glens Falls Board of Public Safety. Do we have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 4 is a resolution to retroactively approve the city-sponsored collection event for paint and other, I think it was paint and other electronics and things that were held on October 12th, 2024 at Eastfield parking lot between the hours of 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. The event was reported to be a huge success by our city employee Jeff Flagg, who helped bring the event to fruition. No COI was needed because this was a city-sponsored event. Do we have a resolution to retroactively approve this event?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Under new business, I have none. Does anybody else have any new business? Under old business, we want to follow up on Councilman Landry's request for that crosswalk to be placed, and now we've had several other people do that. We asked Chief Smith at the last meeting to look at the MUTCD about and police records and accident reports, but we realized that we did not. What we did not realize, so we didn't need Chief to do that because the city has already applied for, through our community development block grants from the Adirondack Glens Falls Transportation Council for about, let's see, I'm trying to read through, unfortunately I got a copy of the, so we've asked for almost $400,000. And we asked for it for traffic calming devices at several intersections and a crosswalk here at this place. So not knowing the concerns of the local neighbors, we had already identified that we needed a crosswalk in the area and already asked for a grant. And we just found out from AGFTC that there were actually less requests than AGFTC had money. So guess what? That means we're going to get this grant. The current engineering suggestion from our engineering department was actually to not put his initial assessment was to not put the crosswalk right at the end of Webster, but further up Bay towards the top of the hill, but before, say, Lexington, which would include, which if approved there, would need we'd have to cut down the sidewalk to bring it to the level. If any of you walk that area and know it as well as I do, so as you get to the top of the hill, before you get to Lexington, or as you get to Lexington, there's about a 1.5 to 2 foot dip between the level of the sidewalk and the curb. And so if it was approved there, and it wouldn't just be putting in a crosswalk, it would be putting in a change to the actual sidewalk to bring it down to the road level and then come across. But what we're going to do is let the traffic professionals at AGFTC assess where they have. Remember that they're the folks who've helped us pay for other major road improvements, including the Webster Avenue project, right? So this is what they do for a living. And so they're going to look at where the safest place is for this crosswalk. My first thought when the request that Councilman Landry had brought to us, that it would make sense to put it right at the end of Webster. I think that's what that you as the board was also thinking. Mm-hmm. But it also there's not a heck of a lot of distance between the crest of the hill when you're coming, if you're coming from, say, Sanford Street. And if you built up any speed and the crosswalk is at the end of Webster, as you come across that and you now come down, it may not give you enough sight notice. There, I think that was our engineer's first blush at this, but he is not an engineer. He did not do a traffic study on this, so we'll let AGFTC. I just wanted you to know that the current request was for it to be between Terracotta and Lexington. That's where the current request is. But I will let the professionals at Adirondack Glens Falls Transportation Council, who gets the federal dollars to pay for such transportation improvements, such as the entire Webster Avenue project, right? So we'll let them come to us and let us know when they decide whether it's best right at the end of Webster, whether it's best further up towards Lexington, and then you guys would have to make the final approval of saying, yes, we agree or we don't agree. Fair enough? But wanted you to know and I'm sorry that I didn't, but it's one of the problems with 14 departments is that I didn't realize that I knew we were applying for money for traffic calming devices. As a matter of fact, we've asked for traffic calming devices in 6 different intersections. Some you'll be familiar with, where we paid for the study over on Hudson. Remember when you've been given that study. So there's about 6 different, we asked for this money. We've now been awarded it, and we'll go and have them do a quick assessment of that area tell us where those traffic professionals think it's best in this area, but it's been approved, and so that's good news for us. Fair enough? Any other questions? And I will ask if the public, if you have any questions about that, please let us know now, or not now, but at any time, right? What we now know is that A, that we have money to pay for this crosswalk, and B, that our current engineer thought it might be a little better up at the top of the hill, closer towards Lexington, and that was the current request. But we'll take Councilman Landry's and your request and have our traffic engineers that work for AGFTC to give us a recommendation and come back to us. Fair enough?
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. We don't often have such quick, easy resolution to traffic concerns, so I feel a little lucky and blessed that I can give you such good news so quickly. God wishes that we could do this that way, right?
I like it.
Yeah, we do, but I love to say I planned that and I just kept it from all of you, but that wouldn't be true either. So anyway, so that is our old business and the catch-up. We don't need Chief to give us the report from the municipal. MUTCD, right? Anyway, so it looks to be good news, and we just found out literally this week that we received that grant money to pay for that and the traffic calming, the flashing beacons. So it's a big win for us. Come on in, sit right down. This is my intern. The mayor has agreed to having a couple young men join me a couple nights a week, so nice. We will throw them under the bus immediately, and there you go. Let's see. Do me a favor. I'm sorry, time? Apologize.
4:15.
4:15. Will you do me a favor? Just go into Bernie. It's Christian, right? Yeah. Christian, go into Bernie. She's the real boss. She's my secretary. She needs you to sign your timesheet before she leaves at 4:30. Fair enough? Thank you. And then come right back out and join us, okay?
Mayor,
Thank you, guys.
Hey, thank you. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
I drove down Platt Street today,
Yes.
and I'm curious about the progress for getting our signage onto Platt Street.
Yes, the resolution was passed by the Common Council. We first, in last night's Common Council meeting, we had you have to have any time, so I think you know that recommendation that you guys made to change that is actually part of the city code, which is law. So we had to have a public hearing. We had that at 7:10 last night, sat quietly for 5 minutes, closed that public hearing, and then voted and passed it of the city council. Now that record will go from our clerk's office, that record and report will go from the clerk's office to the state. I think it's a 10-day?
Whenever we receive notification that the state accepted it, then it will go into effect, and then we can let them know to put the signs up, and it's enforceable at that point. It's just a process, but it did go through last night.
Thank you.
That's what I learned.
Passed
last
without
week.
objection, and now we'll wait for the state to tell us. So, geez, isn't that 2 in a
We're
row?
getting
Come
there.
on, anybody else got
Getting
any?
there.
That's great. So I don't have any other old business. Anybody else? No? Chief Smith, can we get you to give us your report, please, sir?
So I did do my homework, as the mayor asked me to do. Just so you're aware, I ran the numbers for accidents for Bay, Lexington, Bay and Douglas, Bay and Fort Amherst. Over the last 5 years, there's been 4 accidents there, and none of them involving pedestrians. So that's good. That's a good.
That's one.
Yep. I do have a request, and now that we have some money to continue doing traffic studies, I've been receiving a lot of complaints at the Jackson Heights School. It's very congested over there.
Oh my gosh, yes.
The parking, the parking signs, the way the intersection is configured. So from many teachers, from many parents, my crossing guard that's doing very well over there, he has brought it to my attention. So I'm just asking if we have extra money to conduct another traffic study for that school and that intersection that be considered.
Yeah, I live like right there, and if it is during like when school comes in, and especially when the school gets out, I would do everything in my power to not go down that road. It is an absolute
Lake George
nightmare.
in July.
Yes,
right?
it is. It's like you can't even fit a car down because there's people parking on both sides of the streets. There's like people running all in between, parents with their doors open, and it's like literally barely big enough for a single car to get through. And then somebody tries to come the other way, and you're like, oh gosh, I don't know what to do. It's not a good situation.
And that's after pretty significant upgrades to the schools. And since I was a kid, there's ways there's places for teachers to park, which there wasn't. They took a field and made a drop-off
Yeah.
area that used to be where we played touch football.
They don't
And
walk
s-
anymore though either.
Huh?
They don't walk anymore.
They
though
don't walk
either.
in.
Yeah,
That's a
good
big
point.
part of it.
Well, we didn't have a choice.
I didn't
Right?
I walked on a snow day all the
Yeah,
way
isn't
in
it,
school.
isn't it great? What's the old expression? I could throw a stone from here to there, he'd say to me as I 3 miles, that's a pretty good arm.
There is a bathroom down there.
So, that's funny. So, we can, does anybody have any questions? Well, we certainly have Charlotte, who lives right in the neighborhood, saying she agrees. I'm lucky that I haven't received many of these calls, so they usually come to me first, so I'm really grateful in one aspect, but not grateful in another. How about any other questions before, or do we have a motion from the person who lives in the neighborhood?
I don't know. I just honestly think it's seen as like I guess a hopeless situation. It's just been like that forever. So it's like, okay, here we are. We'll just deal with it.
Oh, well, you
But
know,
it's really bad.
all right, but would you like to make a motion towards what you think might be a hopeless situation? It's certainly worth doing a traffic study to find
I mean,
out.
sure.
right?
Make a motion to do a traffic study.
Yeah, all
And
right.
I'll second. I think we have to keep our schools on top of our
Safety
safety concerns.
Big Cross is the same exact way.
Yeah,
You can't
fair
get down
enough.
Big Cross. Yeah, you know, yeah,
So-
it's the same way.
Yeah, heck, we might, I mean, I think there might be a reason to limit, I know in the high school that they're limiting traffic at certain times of the days, and, maybe we put a beacon there and stop regular people from the neighborhood driving through at those times, because they might be a priority for the kids. But either way, let us do a study and take a look. Is that fair enough? So we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So we definitely do that. I don't think there's a way, but if you could get a quote for that traffic study from the engineer in the next 4 weeks, I might have a source of ARPA money that we might be able to pull that from. But we would need the invoice to pay it before the end of the year. All right? And if not, then we'll leave it and we go to AGFTC and other budgets to do it. So I'm not saying we can't pull this off in 4 weeks, then not to do it. But certainly, if we can, that would be convenient for me.
Sure.
And us getting that number right away would be great. Okay? Thank you. Other parts of your report, sir?
So, anyone have any questions about the other parts of the report?
Oh, yeah. Unless you were gonna bring it up under old business.
The protocol for the missing?
Yeah.
Yep. So I spoke to Deputy Chief Mozart, and I spoke to the communications director for Warren County Sheriff's Department, and he indicated that it would have to be a county-wide kind of protocol. So what he recommended was, and we have the authority to do this now, is that anytime a missing juvenile goes out from the school to park, any kind of other unusual situation, our officers have the ability to request the fire department to show up. So I think that's the best way to solve this and take care of it that way. And Deputy Chief Motor agrees. They'll come whenever we call.
So, okay, I'm not trying to make this bigger, because I understand kids don't go to school. They're truant, and I'm trying to keep this in the city. But there's the usual, unusual, and then there's the special.
Mhm.
So we want to keep this in the city where we're at right now,
Right.
with the standards that we have set up
Mhm.
to tell the difference and have the police
Right.
make a decision.
Yes,
Okay, so you're in control of that.
absolutely.
Okay,
Great.
I don't have any further questions.
Yeah, I think the primary request is that when we decide that there is an actual missing child, that we have all hands on deck,
Absolutely.
right? And that would include the fire department, and that might not happen but a couple times a year,
Yeah.
but that it makes sense to have I think right now all police officers are responding, but it would be great to have our firefighters and our EMS at least on responding at all times,
Absolutely.
right? So that would be the major change.
Yeah, this is
Great.
great.
It's good.
Good job.
So,
And that's all I have.
let's see,
Motion.
motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Chief Modar, how are you, sir?
Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Great.
Fall is quickly approaching the end, isn't it?
Yeah, looks like winter really is coming.
Yeah, new season. So our graduates have finally, or our probation firemen have finally graduated from the Recruit Academy. They graduated on Thursday of last week. This week they are out there again at the academy for rope rescue class. They'll be off for 2 weeks and then back out the first week of December for a hazmat tech course. And then they'll be back in the firehouses and their crews for 2 weeks. And starting the beginning of January, second week of January, they're going to start their medic program. I was able to get that, and they'll be running out of Essex County, which is the same course that we have 2 individuals currently in now. So we'll have 5 recruits basically going through their medic class that will be 18 months long. So those both be online and hands-on portions through that whole 18 months. Our fire prevention officer continues to forge ahead in the effort of contacting businesses, getting them used to what's going to be expected of them in their inspections, so that when we show up or make a schedule with them to do their inspections, they know what we're looking for and nothing that's going to be punitive in nature. It's a learning process for them since it's kind of their first year. It's been in the city law ordinance for a while, but it's kind of the first year that they're actually getting to see somebody. We've got quite a bit to inspect in the city, and for one person it kind of makes it difficult. But that's going ahead. A lot of good questions have been asked, good comments. There have been a few pushbacks, and the mayor's gotten privy to that, but we've worked it out, and everybody has seemed to realize that it's not for harmful reasons. It's just to keep all the businesses and the citizens who visit those businesses safe. With winter approaching, we're going to be doing some informative postings just like we did in October for Fire Prevention Month. I'll also be on the city's Firebook Facebook page, as well as the city's webpage for fire safety, checking their fireplaces before they use them, cleaning out dryer lengths. Due to the winter coming, you're not going to be outside as much, so checking the outside is going to be important. Checking your gas venting, making sure that the bushes and things around that is clean. CO alarm, smoke alarm, fire alarm, all those things. New season is here, so you want to make sure to check those, but we'll be sending out nice little post-its just as reminders. And other than that,
When is Fire Prevention Month?
October. For a week. It's only a week in October, but we try to make the whole month out of it.
I missed it. We need to schedule you for city council meetings in October. I have you come and do the show for us, all right? So
We'll do
next
that.
year, let's make sure we get it. I can't believe I missed it. So will you talk a little bit more about the new program in multifamily and other units and where we are with that program?
We don't have anything definitive yet. It's still in the write-up. There have been agreements made with the committee. I think we have one more meeting for that, just to sit down, because there are a few of us that weren't there that night due to other delegations, commitments. So we'll meet again this month and kind of confirm that.
We've done the training, so we've hired a new fire prevention officer. And we've done training with our building and codes department, so that they're both, our building codes department and the fire prevention officer are seeing the same things and thinking the same way about violations and what are violations. There are 3 different kinds of identified inspections that we eventually need to be completing, right? What are, can you help me with those off the top of your head? Multifamily units, commercial,
And we also have the industrial complex that's
Right.
down at the bottom of the hill for the most part.
awesome, yeah, at Finch, right?
Yeah.
So, in that, we haven't been doing what we need to, so we know there's gonna be changes coming there. I want you all to be aware when somebody comes to you and says, hey, I've been here for a long time, I've never had somebody do that. I can't believe you're trying to enforce this now and charge us a fee, and that is the program that we need to be implementing. So we'll have you, Chief, if you can, or your fire prevention officer come and present to the Board of Public Safety and let them know about that program and how we're going to move forward with it. We do have the new technology, right? So we paid for, through our Building and Codes Department, what's the name of it? I apologize.
Civics Plus.
Civic Plus. So the same company that helps us run our website, our city website, and that will be where we'll record all these inspections that we'll be doing, and we'll eventually be using firefighters that will be helping do these as we do them on an ongoing basis. You only have to do multifamily every other year. So every other year, if you've got a 4-bedroom apartment building, or an apartment building with four, I think it's more than 2. That's right, more than 2 apartments, then they need an inspection every 2 years.
I don't know how we're gonna do that.
Yeah, I know it's going to be a lot,
So-
but we're required to do it.
So that includes the Colonial Garden Apartments, right? Oh, thank
Yeah,
gosh.
absolutely.
Okay.
So to go through, we'd be making appointments with them and,
Okay,
and,
good, I'm
and
glad.
working with them any way we can to do that. It includes a lot of different places that haven't always been done, but we're required by law to do it. And so we're now rolling out a program. We'll have to do it slowly over time. It's going to take us a long time to implement, and there are going to be people upset that we have to do it. But we do it. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
This inspection, since it involves the codes department, will this be a safety inspection as well as a fire safety inspection?
It is a fire safety. Our side of it is the fire safety side of it, extinguishers, smoke alarms, escape routes, and for businesses, it's different things like your smoke exhaust. Same thing, extinguishers, sprinklers, everything that relates to fire safety.
So it's a law that
different.
it's a law that says that we must do this. In Glens Falls' code, it says that this particular portion of these inspections are fire, and we have that's why we have a fire inspector, a fire inspector, right?
Yeah.
But in others, in cities or towns, that might be the building and codes person that's doing it, which is why we're using the building and codes software, because it's all written there under that, and we're working together. And it also, quite often, when your fire inspector's in to do an inspection, he may find a change done in a building that we don't have any record of. And so we want him to be seeing and thinking like a building and codes officer at that point. He's not there to do a building safety, other than fire, but we need him to make a phone call to building and codes saying, hey, they put a stairwell in here, and it doesn't look right, it's barely hanging on, right? It's an unsafe building. They removed a load-bearing wall, or they're in the process of it. So we need him to do that, and we need the vice versa. If we're going in to do a building inspection of, say, a new electrical system or a new HVAC system, and we see that there's now 4 apartments where there was none, then we need to be calling our fire inspection service and say, oh, you're an apartment building? Great, these are some other regulations that we need you to do. So that's why they work together. Yes?
Is this state law or city law?
State law that requires the multifamily inspections and the commercial inspections. It's a city law that has it in Glens Falls as part of the fire department's responsibility for the fire inspections. Every municipality, I'm learning is in my job as mayor, is that different municipalities handle these things in different ways. And so, especially depending on the size, right? Sometimes you've got a guy that works in small communities, say the size of the town of Moreau, might be the same guy that's your building inspector, it's also your fire inspector, he's also your chief bottle washer, right? He's doing a wide range of things, whereas in Glens Falls, we certainly don't have an entire planning board, right, or a planning department, right? Town of Queensbury's got 8 people in a planning department. It's completely separate and different. So anyway, that's it.
So the results of these inspections, they're going into a vendor's software program, is that accurate?
It's correct.
And will that program be available via the city's website?
No.
This will be held
This
closed?
this is where our building and codes puts there. So if you apply to build a new house in Glens Falls, they get your application and it goes into their software, and so they record everything that we need to record as far as your inspections, because we're moving away from paper into an electronic database, right? So the same thing when the fire inspector goes to look at a multifamily, it'll go into the same database that's held, it's completely private and personal, that is no outside access to it, but it'll generate reports such as, hey, you've got a certificate of occupancy. Here's your certificate of occupancy printed out by our database, or here's a fire inspection certificate saying we've inspected it. It's all great.
Everything's foilable too. So if someone from the public wanted information on a house that was in that software, they could request it.
It is foilable.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The permitting process on the code side of it, you'll be able to track your permitting approval process through that program as well. And so the same thing goes for our inspections. They'll be able to pull up their business and print off, like the mayor was saying, their inspection report or anything else regarding that as well. So
Thank you.
that portion will be for the business owner only. It won't be open to everybody, obviously, due to privacy rules.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm staying corrected. There you go. That's great.
Just helps the process all along, both the agencies working together, departments. Even when the officers and the crews are outside, they notice something at a home that might be a hoarder or something that's unsafe, they can write a report in that program, and then the next day either the code officer or the prevention officer will be able to pick that up, and it's now a tracked record for that particular address, that unit, whereas now you have paper track trails everywhere. Now it's in a specific spot and everybody gets to see it and comment on it.
Good.
That's great. Yeah, we're moving forward.
I have a question,
Yes, ma'am.
but it's not on that. It's just fire related. A few months ago, we had talked about the new fire truck,
Yep.
but you said you're still waiting on some
Yep.
bits and
We
pieces.
look to have it done by the end of this month, completed, and then we'll be doing our hands-on training with it and get it in service in December.
What was the piece that we passed, what was the spending we passed last night in the council meeting? Was that lettering or equipment maybe for the new truck?
It was for some extra equipment on the truck that they had to put in so we could basically mount the equipment into the unit itself.
Great.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Ambulance
Mhm.
calls,
Mhm.
tracking, are we breaking that out?
Are we breaking it out in the report itself?
Yeah.
I think
It's in there. I believe it.
I have glasses.
it's broken into categories. So if you look here, the structure fires here, and then the different types
Oh,
that
here
are
it
through
is.
here.
There it is.
Emergency medical services.
And that goes ambulances, right?
Yep.
Very
That's all
good.
we got
That's
for-
good.
Yeah.
I'd like to also add
Yes, sir.
a little commendation.
Okay.
Parker Stafford and firefighter Pink for an excellent job
Nice.
a couple days ago, for me.
For you?
Yeah.
Perfect. Those are, as you probably already
They're
know,
good
there are two of our, well, I won't say newest because they got 7 behind them, but Mr. Stafford just recently got his medic certificate,
Right.
so he's online as a medic, and Michael Pink will be starting his medic program in
That guy-
January,
that
and
guy
he
is
just
very-
completed 1 year
Very
service to the
sharp.
department.
Very
Yes.
sharp. You-
Very knowledgeable, very young,
Oh, yeah.
but he's got the know-how and the
Oh, yeah.
motivation to go. So we have a lot of young guys in the group. Like I said, we'll end up with about 15 new guys on the line out of
Impressive.
28.
Yeah.
So, good group.
What a difference of where you are now to a year ago,
Correct.
huh?
Yeah.
What-
Breath of fresh air coming hopefully.
Yeah.
For both police and
Everybody
fire
can
department,
breathe.
you both should get, it's impressive. We've been able to bring the people in and do the work that we need to do, and the city, the residents benefit
He's so
from it.
young. Stafford.
He does look like he's 12, doesn't he? I don't want to say that in public, I just did, and I apologize to him. I'm sure his dad would get the best chuckle, but it's like, my goodness, he makes me think of how old I am just to talk to him. It's great. What a great kid, though. Young man, I apologize.
I move we accept Chief Modert's report.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. I do not have anything for executive session. Nobody else does. I believe we could entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have
I'll
a
second.
second? All in favor?
There you go.
Aye. We stand adjourned. Thank you
Nice
very
work.
much.